I forgot to ask you about some research you've done about wood fiber pulp. When we spoke the first time, it was quite interesting, not just the sound absorption and acoustic data, but what it would take to produce those sorts of materials.
Yeah. So that's kind of the new research area where I'm going, and I have a couple of PhD students, and I'm working with a small Finnish company which is called Lumir. They are basically making acoustic damping material out of cellulose, because traditionally they are, as I think all of us know, that they are like glass wool or rock wool, the acoustic tiles. Basically, it doesn't matter which are the fibers, because the sound attenuation happens in the pores between the fibers. So you have to have a porous material where you have tiny pores, optimally from 10 microns to a couple of hundreds of microns, maybe half a millimeter. Then they absorb sound. Basically, they transfer the sound energy to heat. Then there is a new kind of environmental friendly option. Is one of them is cellulose, but of course there are other biofibers as well. But we have been studying cellulose mainly. Recently, also I'm actually collaborating with a professor in chemistry, and they are using bio waste. So you can extract cellulose from, and then also there are some studies on pectin based, so that can be from orange peels, wherever. But the main idea there is that you have, for example, cellulose fibers, and then you form them as you do the glass wool as well, the similar way. And then you form them, and then when it dries, it kept the porous structure. And then you can do acoustic tiles. This company actually their main product is this kind of sprayable product. You can spray on any wall, and it attaches to any wall. Then when it dries, it keeps the porosity. Then you can do also curved surfaces and so on. And you can smooth it, so when you look a little bit more far away, it looks really like a plaster concrete wall. And then, there is the environmental aspect is actually the main driving point why I'm interested in, is that to do these products is first of all, they bind carbon because they are natural fibers, so there's carbon included. But then you also don't need high temperatures. So you can do, for example, this kind of acoustic tiles out of cellulose or pulp in less than 100 degrees. So you don't need so much heat than for example, in glass wool. You have to melt the glass to make the fibers out of that. And then this company actually, which I'm working with, is they have a certificate that their products are carbon negative. So the whole production, including transfer of the materials and everything, it's actually producing less carbon dioxide that the whole product is binding. And of course, there are some. You can go, for example, Class A easily, and you can have acoustic tile which is Class A. They resist the fire and they don't flame, but still with natural fibers you cannot get Class A. But your Class B is at least in Finnish standards, it's okay.
Do they resist the fire, but they still burn? Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Okay. So they resist, and you can add some chemicals there so that they quite well resist the fire. In design, it's the usually in the buildings, it's kind of the total fire load in a way. It depends what the other structures, if they are steel structures or something, and then you can put as much as that. But if it's a wooden building or other materials, they burn easily or more easily, then you need probably from acoustic materials something.
The first time I saw it was, and I heard about it, was you were sharing a video of somebody putting some flame on it, and showing that it was really resistant. It was still burned on some side, but it was really, really resistant to fire.
Yeah, there is a really small, like 2-minute YouTube video which was made by the university, because one of the university hall was treated with this acoustic sprayable coating out of cellulose, and I can actually send you a link, and you can link it here, because then people can. That's kind of we made in purpose so that it was before and after, so it was really reverberant space. Then I spoke and explained there, and you can really hear the reverb after the renovation, and then the good thing there is that you can actually color this, for example, because the pulp or the mass you can do whatever colors. So it's kind of invisible as of course, if you do acoustic tiles, but this kind of sprayable coating, you can do it mostly invisible. You don't see it, but then it's kind of porous.
It's sounding like the episode is being sponsored by Lumiere, but it is not.
No,
there's no worries
not,
about it.
Maybe we can ask sponsor, but it's kind of
maybe.
But it's a small company, and then there's many, and there are some other companies as well in Finland which are now trying to develop. One of the problems there is still to do the mass production. There are some techniques to do the mass production already, but it's really lack of kind of building the factories. And I think like the construction industry is so used to use glass wool or rock wool, and there are big companies which are producing, big factories which are producing, and of course then they can put the price down, and then we still need kind of the more development to do the mass production, and then also like to reduce the price and everything. But I think that's future, as we see in all construction design is that this kind of environmental aspects are more and more important. How to recycle materials and these kind of things. That's coming. When
you demolish a building, can you repurpose it? Can you leave it on the landfill and it will be compostable?
I think yes, you can actually, because it's basically wood, so you can put it in landfills, maybe even reuse it to some extent. But of course, it depends that how it's attached to some other materials and how easily you can extract it when you demolish a building, for example.
And can you replace mineral wool or rock wool with it as an insulation between in metal frame structures or as linings, if you see what I mean, in cavities? When you put insulation in cavities, does it have all the resistance to replace it?
Yeah, I think why not? And they actually, because they're natural fibers, they take more moisture inside. Then it's also that if you have a little bit of ventilation there, they also leave the water out, so that we know that if the glass wool gets wet, then it's really hard to dry. But then those natural fibers, they take more easily the water in, but then also they kind of give the water out, because they are still and our recent results, which we are now writing a paper, is that when there is quite a lot of moisture there, it's actually, they absorb a little bit more sound. So it's kind of, even the fibers are swelling, or they get a little bit flexible and they are bending a little bit, and that's kind of why they absorb more sound. It's not much, but it's kind of 5% more, and also at low frequencies.
Is it more expensive than any standard materials?
Yeah, so far it's more expensive, but I think it's mainly because of the kind of lack of mass production. But other than that, like the raw material is cheap. So it's when the production techniques gets better, and then you have a bigger quantities, then I think there is no reason that why it should be more expensive.